Welcome back, everyone. Today we are continuing our series about Epic Universe and kind of our preparation for our visit. Now, we were not expecting to have to crank these videos out so fast, but we are visiting now in like 5 days or so. So we need to make sure that we get all of the worlds covered. We currently only have Celestial Park. If you guys haven't yet, make sure to check that video out. But today we're talking all about Isle of Berk. We also have the return of the Mega Movie Parade, which we're about to go check out right now as well. We do have Sensational returning next week on Monday. So yeah, kind of a lot to do here. But let's talk about everything coming to Isle of Berk, kind of break it all down and our hype list as we are prepping now just a few days away before Epic Universe. Yeah, look at this line. Wow, it is almost 2 p.m., which is when the parade starts. And look at this. This is crazy. Here are the lines as we are waiting. Every single one is open right now. This is crazy. They did end up removing some of the walls that we did see right here. Looks like they were just redoing some of the concrete and putting some planters here in its place. Still construction walls over there. Still set enhancements in progress over here at Studio Suites. But we need to go. I can hear the parade is starting, and then we are going to talk all about Isle of Berk, but let's go see the parade. Let's go ahead and start talking about Isle of Berk, but I do want to point out we have finally covered up pretty much all of the fountains out here, so they did raise it that extra foot or so that we were waiting for, and yeah, Sensational starts in just 2 days, by the way, so we are getting very close. So today was the Mega Movie Parade. 2 days from now we will have the show again for Sensational, and I think they like applied for some new like drone work or something. I don't know, we'll keep an eye on it. Obviously that is next week, but yeah, either way, covered up again. Now when it comes to the attractions over at Isle of Berk, let's talk about them. We have 4, kind of 3 in my opinion. We have Fire Drill, Hiccup Swing Gliders, and Dragon Racers Rally. Those are the 3 kind of main rides, but if we're looking at all kind of attractions, we do also have the Viking Training Camp, which is kind of a kids play area. So we have 3 kind of attractions, I would say, 2 of them being a little bit kind of bigger and a little bit more intense between Hiccups and Dragon Racers Rally. And then we have the water ride in the Fire Drill. Now again, I know that a lot of people have already covered all of this inside of the park, but again, this is kind of our hype list and what we are looking forward to. And yeah, when it comes to these attractions, I do think that Dragon Racers Rally and Hiccup Swing Gliders, they're actually going to be quite a hit. I think between the 2 of them, we do have some pretty unique attractions there. You know, obviously having some sort of pseudo Hagrid's ride, I think is going to be a lot of fun. And then obviously we've never had this kind of wing spinning kind of style attraction either here in the theme park. So that's going to be a lot of fun to try out. So yeah, some really fun options there. And then obviously having Viking Training Camp for the little kids that ultimately need to blow off some steam. I talk about this all the time. It is a great thing to add to your theme parks, just these little training camp or just like playground areas. I think it's a really, really positive thing just to kind of, again, let kids play and kind of like burn off some of that energy, especially if they're getting bored standing in lines. It's just a great opportunity to, again, just let things kind of simmer down a little bit. Now we are going to try out a crepe here from the crepe stand, and this is one of the newer ones. I think this is a blueberry and like lemon. I think it's got like lemon cake or whatever, but while we're trying that, let's talk about the food over inside of Isle of Berk. So for your dining options here, we do have 3 of them, all quick service, as we do know the only sit-down restaurants are over in Celestial Park, which we did already cover. If you guys are interested in seeing that video, make sure to check out that one. That is all based on Celestial Park. We also do have kind of a complete guide where we talk about all of the lands and all of the offerings. However, when it does come to Isle of Berk specifically, we do have 3 food options. We do have Hooligans, Grog and Gruel, Mead Hall, and Spitfire Grill. It does seem like Mead Hall and Spitfire Grill are a little bit more sit-downy in that kind of style, where it does kind of look like the Hooligans seems a little bit more kind of grab and go. But I know with Spitfire, I think you're going to be sitting out by the ride near Fire Drill, which I think is kind of cool. And then the idea of Meads Hall being kind of like this big grand hall style, I think is also a lot of fun. So I think they've got a nice little variety for only having 3 different dining options. And I think ultimately they're going to be all pretty good. And I do think kind of the style of food might be interesting here, because I think they're going to go really grand and over the top with big portions. At least that's what I am hoping. Here's a look at that crepe. We are trying it out. It's okay. It's a little unique on the flavors. I think I was expecting a really high punch of blueberry and lemon, and I'm not totally getting that. Kind of subtle on the flavors, which tends to be a universal thing in general. You do tend to get like a little bit less on the sweetness. However, in this specific dish, I think I would have expected it to be a little bit more potent, especially since lemon can be so strong, and the blueberries at least are pretty good. But yeah, I was kind of hoping for a really like heavy punch of lemon in there, but overall, not bad. One other thing I do want to talk about when it comes to the food inside of Isle of Berk, as we are having the pizza here from the iconic DreamWorks Imagination Cafe. They have the Oggeroni pizza, which we have talked about before, but I am really looking forward to having those macaroni cones. I think it's like a mac and cheese cone. So I am hoping that they are just as good as the pizza here from Imagination Cafe. Now let's talk a little bit about some of the shopping options here. We do have 4 areas that you can shop at, and those would be Hiccup's Workshop, How to Treat Your Dragon, Toothless's Treasures, that's kind of a mouthful, and Viking Traders. Also, just take a look at the crowds today. Very, very busy at Universal right now. And I'm only imagining it's potentially going to get a little worse for the next few weeks as we are still in spring break time. But as we do navigate the crowds, I do want to say I think between Hiccup's Workshop and Viking Traders, I imagine we're going to have a lot of Viking merch that you can purchase to kind of wear around the land. But I'm also pretty excited about How to Treat Your Dragon. I think that's going to be a fun little option too. I always like to see fun candy stores, and from what I have heard, there are some kind of unique offerings inside of Isle of Berk with kind of like mystery grab bag style things. And I am a sucker for anything mystery box, and Nicole is the same way. I feel like if there's something that we can get mystery kind of items out of, we are going to buy them. So you can bet if that is an option inside of Isle of Berk, we'll be purchasing probably a few of them. How soon until we get an HHN announcement, as we are looking at the tents here with the Enterprise trucks? Hopefully we hear something coming in the next few weeks. I was kind of predicting maybe we hear something this upcoming week. It feels like this is about that time, but we are kind of waiting for it. Again, a lot of Enterprise trucks over there, so I wonder what they are doing. As we continue to circle around, we do see some more construction going on over here by the Jaws bathrooms. Looks like we have some kind of like siding put up there. You can see like the white right there, so it does look like we are kind of still moving along. I wonder how long this is going to take. I still don't know if they're going to redo the top with like the shingles up there. It does look like they kind of have started to remove some of them, but either way, we are still waiting to see what happens here, but at least they are still making progress. Now, as we just did look at some of the entertainment, and there we go with Rip Ride behind us here, but again, we talked about how important entertainment is to the theme parks here, and I want to talk a little bit about some of the entertainment coming to the Isle of Berk. So you can meet Toothless and Hiccup. That is one option that is there of the 3. However, I am seeing like more dragons out and about, so I don't know if there's more than what is listed inside of the app. Also, we do have Gobber's Forge, which seems to be kind of a fun little interactive thing that you can do there. And again, we'll probably cover a lot more of that, obviously, when we do end up going over to Isle of Berk. But then finally, you can see the Untrainable Dragon, which seems to be a fantastic show. We have talked about this before. We do know that they have this show out overseas at their other parks. So hopefully it is a little bit different like we were talking about, and I am hearing some really good reviews of it. So again, we will go ahead and check it out and give you our review of it. But again, those are your 3 options, and that doesn't necessarily include some of the smaller kind of random characters that will be roaming around. So I think Isle of Berk is gonna have a lot of entertainment for you guys. Now I do have Nicole with me here, and Isle of Berk is probably her most anticipated, and she really wants to talk about her top 5 along with my top 5 most anticipated here. So we're gonna talk about that right now. Starting off with number 5 for myself, it would be Fire Drill. Fire Drill, I think, is going to be a unique experience. The only time I have ever seen any theme park do kind of this type of battling water ride, I think was at a Six Flags, and I think it's closed down now at this point. And I think if there was any theme park that were to open up this style of ride, I think Universal is the one that I would trust most with it. And I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I think it's something that we don't have at any of the theme parks, and I think it should be a pretty good hit. And I think the theme being inside of Isle of Berk and based around How to Train Your Dragon, I can only assume it is going to be a really nice addition to this land.
So my number 5 is going to be just getting the chance to meet Hiccup and Toothless and all the other dragons that are wandering around the park. And I know that there's going to be like the dragon drones in the sky, and I think just seeing these dragons brought to life is something I am really looking forward to, whether it's like watching it from afar or getting to like interact with it up close.
I didn't really know where I wanted to put the like dragon interactions that aren't listed, because that would also really rank pretty high with me, but I don't really know how to kind of rank it amongst the things that are there. But I would say, yeah, that would also rank pretty high for me, especially when the drones with the dragons that we've seen testing around, once those are going, and just like the roaming characters, I think are gonna be really, really good. I think the entertainment inside of Isle of Berk is really going to shine. But either way, let's talk about number 4 at this point. And 4 for me would be Dragon Racers Rally. Now, you guys know, if you guys have been watching the channel for quite a while, that I do not like spinny rides. Every time we go on the teacups, I always just do not enjoy my time. I don't like spinning. I don't like whipping around like that. I love coasters and things like that, but when it comes to spinny rides, I'm out. However, the way that this ride's done, it looks like you can kind of spin it at your own leisure, and it kind of like does like little barrel rolls or somersaults. So it's not necessarily like a teacup style. So I am a little bit more optimistic for it, but the fact that you're kind of still spinning in circles just the whole time, still a little nervous, but I think it's gonna be fun. And I haven't done anything like it. Just like Fire Drill, we don't have that type of experience here in Orlando, and I think it's gonna be another great addition. So I think for that, it's kind of why I'm going number 4 with Dragon Racers Rally.
So I am a sucker for mac and cheese, so I am really looking forward to those mac and cheese cones over at Hooligan's Grog and Gruel. You know, I think the first day we go there, I'm gonna be ready for that for lunch within the first hour of getting to that park. So I hope they don't disappoint.
Nicole and I always point out that if this stand is open, it's typically pretty busy. But you know what? I don't think I've ever seen people walking around with snow cones. When has this ever worked? But we can see they've got it here. It looks like that. We can see that over there, the actual syrups. I have not seen snow cones at the park, I think, in the past 3 years. So this is crazy if they are actually kind of making this work. How cool. And maybe it's been here, we just don't pay enough attention. But that's awesome. They have snow cones, potentially. I mean, looks like it's kind of out right now, but it looks like they were making them at some point. Going into number 3 for myself, I would put Toothless and Hiccup's meet and greet. Now that is the official meet and greet, so I guess if we want to include all of the additional things that we can experience around the park, which I was kind of just mentioning, then maybe I would put it right here at 3. I think just like after watching the movies and just like being so invested in the story, also, I don't want to spoil too much, but still upset with the ending of the 3rd movie. I wish things would have went a little differently for everybody there. But that being said, I am very excited to just be able to do that meet and greet and kind of just meet the characters around the area. I feel like bringing them to life is going to be great. I've already talked about the entertainment being fantastic, so I think it's going to just be such a unique experience. And yeah, being able to meet them, and at least from like some of the spoiler things that have been shown from like Bio Reconstruct and stuff like that, I think it's just kind of incredible what they are doing with Toothless in general and the dragons. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that, and I think that's going to be just an incredible moment overall.
So number 3 on my list is going to be Hiccup's Wing Glider. Dylan said it's kind of somewhat similar-ish maybe to Hagrid's, and I love Hagrid's, which would make me put it number 1, but I'm saving that spot for something else that I'm just a little bit more excited for. But I truly am excited to try this ride, and I do hope it's a similar concept to Hagrid's, because that is such a great ride, and I think it'd be cool to have that at more than just one park.
We are taking a quick pit stop at the preview center to see if there's any new merch. We always have to stop in here, and then we're gonna finalize our last 2 spots. All right, nothing new over at the preview center, not that we saw at least. I would like to see them bring more of the merchandise over from like the actual stores inside of the hotels, because I feel like they have a lot of fun and unique merch here, but that's all right. Well, my final 2 were pretty tough, if I'm being honest with you. I am between 2. One of them would be the Untrainable Dragon, and the other one would be Hiccup's Wing Gliders. Now, You guys know I'm a huge coaster fan in general, but when it does come to entertainment, I think the Untrainable Dragon is going to be incredible. But when I did really think about it, I thought about what I am really just looking most forward to, and it is going to be number 2, the Untrainable Dragon, number 1, Hiccups Wing Gliders. Now, again, those two could go back and forth any given day of the week, but for now, if I'm being honest, I am looking forward to seeing what is all going on with Hiccups Wing Gliders as my most anticipated. The Untrainable Dragon could still be my number 1 after visiting. Again, this is just what I'm looking most forward to. This isn't necessarily what I would rank them as far as like how good they are. It's just kind of what I'm looking forward to. And Untrainable Dragon, again, could take my number 1 if I really wanted it to. They're so close, but both of those I think are great options to put at my 1 and 2. Wow, it is windy today.
My number 2 on my hype list is going to be the Untrainable Dragon show. I feel like we have heard nothing but amazing things about the show overseas, and I'm really excited to see it here. I also just love the first and second movie. Like, not the biggest fan of the third because the ending absolutely broke my heart and I can't get over that. So I'm hoping the show is like related to the first 2 movies because I love it so much. And my number 1 most anticipated thing in Isle of Berk is going to be the Dragon Racer Rally. I love spinny rides, and I've seen so many videos of like the Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtle ride over at the Mall of America and how fast those things can spin, and I cannot wait to spend hours spinning on these dragon racers over the next few months.
Well, there you go. That is what the offerings are for Isle of Berk and what we are looking forward to. Again, we are going to be there in just a few days. We still have to release our Harry Potter area, so everything in the Ministry of Magic. We also have to do all of Dark Universe and Nintendo. So those are the 3 remaining worlds that we will be covering leading up to our video coming out later again in the week for next week yet. We have some seriously cool content coming, and I am hoping you guys are really excited for all of that. Either way, if you did enjoy hanging out with us here today over at Universal Studios, please give this video a big thumbs up. It helps out a ton. If you want to see more content like this or anything related to Epic Universe, which you know there's going to be a lot of here coming up soon, make sure to subscribe to the channel. See you guys in the next one. Thank you guys for hanging out with us today, and thank you so much for being here.